If you are interested in talking about spring planting and potting up some spring flower arrangements, you are in the right place. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B and I am in southeastern North Carolina. Today is awesome because I need to pot up these two urn planters here for my front porch, and this time is going to be a little bit different than the last arrangements I put together because I want to use perennials in here. Using perennials in your spring arrangements is great because once your seasonal display is done, you can then plant out these flowers into your garden. So one of my favorite plants anyway is creeping moss phlox, and I love the creeping phlox because it stretches out if you put it out into your landscape. I have it in my back rock garden. It goes around all the rocks. But if I use it for an arrangement, it's going to drape over the edges of the flower pot. So this phlox is something that I picked up at the garden center, as well as this Grace Ward Lithidora, which is also a trailing perennial. So it's also going to be spreading out. Look at the two vibrant colors of these flowers together. So now we are going to shop my backyard, or maybe yard in general, and see what else I have that can go inside these large urn arrangements. I barely stepped off my front porch and I already found something that I can use if I want to. So I have a trailing verbena here. Everything is trailing right now. But it is blooming so much more than it was the last time I took notice to it. You see all this hot pink? These flowers are just popping out now. So the interesting thing about this is as it's trailing, it's leaving new roots behind. And I actually have quite a large piece coming up into this plant here, which honestly, I don't want it to trail up into the Nandina. So I'm thinking I might take a section of this verbena out with its roots and I might be able to use that in my arrangement. So there's one thing. Over here in my rock garden, this is one of the places where I do have the phlox that I was talking about, but you can see the new one I bought is a much more vibrant color than the one I already had, which is great because I want this vibrance to go with the Lithidora also, just because I really love the color combination. But what I am going to steal out of here is I have some poofs of dianthus here, as well as a huge poof of dianthus here. These are things that I had in pots last year and it kept getting bigger and expanding, so I tossed them in here. These are now gonna come out with me. The really nice thing about all of these plants is that they are early spring bloomers, which means they're all cold weather tolerant. So I don't have to worry too much about this planter that I'm creating. So again, can you see the contrast between these two? And then it's going to be this poof of dianthus that I'm going to take from, because quite honestly, it's getting tall and I don't want this beautiful rock hidden behind it. The way this dianthus works is it does get very poofy, but it's not rooted everywhere. So the rooted part is actually underneath. So before I go ahead and take two large clumps of this, one for each of my pots, I want to look in the greenhouse and see what I'm actually going to use as the centerpiece for the arrangement. Popping into the greenhouse, I have my new plants with me so I can kind of compare and see what colors of things I have that are available that would go with these. Right away, I'm struck by this pot of begonias because I've been trying to propagate as many begonias as possible, so I had them to add out into pots and my landscape this year. I do have this variety down here with the lighter green foliage and pink flowers, or I have the darker foliage up here. Here's the thing. When I look at this pot, I actually have a mix of two different kinds of begonias right in here. So one side has green foliage and the other side again with the darkly colored. So I think either way, this pot needs to be taken apart. This way I have more room for whatever begonias I leave inside the pot. So this one's coming up front with me. I think I have just changed my mind. I'm not sure, but I brought the begonias over. I see these things here. I'm gonna take out my clumps of dianthus, and then I saw something else hiding right back there. Let me show you. I've had this decorative cabbage for 2 winters now, and it stayed in this pot and has overwintered just like this because of course it doesn't mind the cold temperatures. Well, I can see that after I had clipped the stem last year in order to propagate the head, I got all these new babies just happening all over the place. Well, I kind of feel like these might just make nice centerpieces for an early spring arrangement. Again, it likes the cool temperatures as well. So what I think I'm going to do is clip off the top of this stem just like I did last year, allow this to continue to grow inside the pot, but let me take this apart for my arrangement. Let's give that a try. In the shady area next to my grill that I never show, I have some creeping Jenny that I have growing in the ground that I literally only grow for arrangement. So I have a whole area toward my left where there's a bunch of it. So I'm just starting from over here, grab some pieces like this. Creeping Jenny is, of course, another trailer, but we're going to use it maybe as an additional filler as well. And then finally, in the flower bed that I have directly across from the rock garden, I have all of this grape hyacinth muscari. So it started out in kind of one big clump here, but it has grown, and now I have it all the way to over there behind the rock. I'm going to take out the clump behind the rock because this is an azalea that's going to bloom soon. That's going to be hidden anyway. So I'm going to grab some of this because it's that another cool tone with the purple. So I think that'll play nicely with the Graceward Lithidora and maybe balance out some of the pinks we got going on. I wanted to pull us back out of the sun a little bit, so we're on the shade of the porch to work. Hopefully you can see things even better. And of course I'll change the angle of the camera so you can see different things as well. I feel like... Hi! You're good. You're good. You want to be in it? You can come over.
Let me do my hair.
So I feel like I might have maybe too many things just simply because I had a lot of fun gathering in the garden, but fine. I'm going to be making these planters the same but opposite. So this way they're sitting on either side of the walkway and they're just gonna look, you know, like the pinks both on the inside, the blues on the outside, that sort of thing. So we're starting with our soil first and let's go from there. Okay, we are ready to start planting. So once again, we are using perennials for the whole thing. So what are some benefits to using perennials? Ooh, look at this guy. Roots all the way out the bottom. What are some benefits to using perennials in your containers? Well, again, they're not annuals. They are gonna last for you. Holy roots. I'm just gonna loosen this guy up. You can put them into your landscape when they're done in the container. So I feel like that's more bang for your buck in this gardening season alone, never mind the fact that you get to enjoy them again next year. Now, I have been known in the past to just use the kind of phlox that I already have in my landscape to make arrangements with before, because I feel like, again, using what you have is awesome. But with this one, as I said, I just wanted a different color phlox, something with a little more saturation in the color. And the other thing is, when I go and put this into the landscape, it'll be going into my Garden of Misfit Toys, which is my section of gardening on the outside of my fence line that has like, it's kind of a hodgepodge right now, but it is going to be getting better and better and better as the year goes on. I think I have some of my own phlox from inside my backyard there. Plus, I had gotten some clearance phlox that was white, if I'm not mistaken, last year. So both of those are out there right now already. Well, how cool would it be if I put this hot pink phlox in there as well to sort of make it like a patchwork quilt? The ground would start to cover almost like a colorful blanket. So shades of pink, some white, I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, that's the intention for this phlox. I could probably put the Lithidoro out there as well. Oh, I cannot believe how root bound this is. Clearly, whoever propagated this started doing that a long time ago. I'm just trying to get a feel for where I want the plants to go right now. This is not their permanent spot. These two colors are definitely going to go toward the front. And then I want my Creeping Jenny to go in the front also. Boy, I'm seeing all my neighbors out today. They're all out walking and running and being active. So my Creeping Jenny, I'm going to plant that up in the front. I'm going to try to make it as equal as possible. Whoopsie. I went back to the backyard and got some more Creeping Jenny. Now, of course, it is not very long and drapey right now because it literally just started turning green very recently. So later in this season, the Creeping Jenny is going to look so awesome and majestic and gorgeous, and I love it. I will love it even more than I do now. But for now, we're dealing with early spring growth. Let's see. And just figuring out how to make it look good for the time, realizing it's going to change and mature. The sun is starting to make gains on us coming around the front porch, but that's all right. We are going to keep rocking and rolling. So with my cabbage here, one of my biggest heads is actually this one right off on the side, and then I have several small ones. So let me go ahead and separate this one big one. That's going to be one of my centerpieces over here, maybe, as I look and see how short it is, maybe not. And then I'm going to take one of these other ones. Let's see if we can maybe make these stand up right here in the middle, and then have this one stand up right in the middle. Okay, Dianthus. Dianthus is going to fill in on this side because it's going to be a warm tone, like a pinkish, salmonish color. So it's going to go on the opposite side over here. And then the grape hyacinth muscari, which looks like an onion bulb at the bottom. That's it, the way its roots go. That's going to be over here. And we have lots of that. Everything's looking so wimpy right now. It's hard to tell if you like it or not when it's not standing up straight. If you totally want to laugh at me, I would understand, because you know what I did? I really wasn't happy with the amount of cabbage size. Like, the one on the left had a bigger, fatter stem, so it was able to stand up a little bit taller than the one over here. So I went into my front yard and I snipped off the head of another decorative cabbage that I had just to put it in here. I do believe it's going to root in here though, so it's not like I killed it. And also the stem of that cabbage is going to grow, you know, with all the little mini cabbages all off to the side. Oh my gosh. But I felt like I had to just balance them out a little bit better. I'm gonna wait until the sun is not quite so intense to give you the final reveal so you can see how all the pieces came together, and then decide if this will work as a container for your garden as well. I do hope that you got some spring flower inspiration though, and hopefully you're really getting in the mood to get your containers done as well. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on social media, because that's where you're going to see everything faster, sooner, and where hopefully I share some fun things that are interesting to see. And until next time, you guys, happy planting.